May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, our God, our strength, and our Redeemer. Amen. Wake up, God! How can you let this happen? I don't mind telling you, I'm struggling a little bit with the emotions that surround our new normal in society today. I'm sad. I'm sad because 500,000, almost 750,000 people have gotten sick. 25,000, maybe 50,000 have died from this one disease. I'm anxious. I'm anxious because I don't know when Nadine's going to go back to work. I don't know when the kids are going to go back to school. And I don't know when we can worship again together as a community. I'm grieving. I'm grieving because I have to preach to an empty building today. I'm grieving because I can't go and pray with people before they have surgery. I feel isolated. Isolated because I can't go have dinner with my dad. My in-laws can't come over and play with their grandkids. Nadine and I can't go out to dinner together. But most of all, I'm just mad. I'm mad because of the grief. I'm mad because of the sadness and the anxiety and the isolation. I'm mad because I don't want to be an 8th grade English teacher. I'm mad because I want to wash people's feet on Maundy, Thursday, and I'm not going to get to do that. I'm mad because people aren't carrying toilet paper and water and not listening to doctors and researchers and following their guidance. And forgive me for this, but God, I'm mad at you too. Just like the psalmist said in Psalm 44, "Awake, why do you sleep, O Lord?" I suspect many of you probably share my emotions. I suspect many of you are probably asking God the same questions that I'm asking. Our gospel lesson this morning, Mary and Martha share a lot of those same emotions, maybe even exactly the same emotions that we share today. We know they grieved. John's gospel tells us, and many of the Jews had come to Mary and Martha to console them about their brother. We know they were sad. The folks that came to console Mary and Martha thought Mary had gone to the tomb to weep for her brother Lazarus. We don't know this for sure, but I suspect Mary and Martha were probably anxious. Anxious because they didn't know what the future was going to hold. Anxious because they may too have experienced social isolation. It wasn't uncommon for women in the first century without a male head of household to have a very uncertain future. But most of all, I think they were mad. They were mad at Jesus. They were mad because they knew he was the Messiah. They knew he was the Son of God. And both of them, at different times, go to Jesus and say, "Lord, if you had been there, this wouldn't have happened." In other words, they're saying, "God, wake up! How can you let this happen?" But what can we learn from this? What can we learn from the emotions that we share with Mary and Martha? What does this gospel lesson teach us about God? We learn that God never promised his faithful that there wouldn't be difficulties. God never promised his faithful that there wouldn't be tragedies. God never even promised his faithful that there wouldn't be pandemics that go worldwide. But what God does promise is that in our isolation, in our grief, in our anxiety, and yes, even in our anger, God loves us. The Son of God, Jesus, weeps when we weep. The promise that God offers us in this gospel lesson this morning is hope. The hope that this is not our new normal. The hope that there is something better coming. The hope that by loving God and loving your neighbor, we will all be raised to new life with Christ. Sisters and brothers, even in the midst of these swirling emotions, even in the midst of our isolation, look for hope. Look for the signs of new life that spring forward. A couple of months ago, my dad gave Nadine and I a crepe myrtle tree to plant in our backyard. And I didn't know it at the time, but even crepe myrtle trees are seasonal in Florida. So when he gave it to us, it looked like a potted dead stick. Now, since I've had a lot of time to spend in the backyard the last couple of weeks, I've been paying attention and watering that dead stick that Dad said, just keep watering it. It'll be fine. You know what I noticed the other day? There's little green buds on the ends of those dead sticks. There's new life coming forward from what appeared to be dead. Hope, new life is all around us. We just have to have eyes to see it. Julian of Norwich, the 14th century mystic, who lived through the Black Death, incidentally, once wrote this: "If there is anywhere on earth a lover of God is kept safe, I know nothing of it, for it was not shown to me. But it was shown that in falling and rising again, we are always kept in that same precious love." Amen.